Hello, my name is Bill Davidson, Senior Consultant with Critical Design Associates. Today, I'd like to welcome you to our presentation of Ivanti Service Management, Analysis, and Requirements Gathering. Installation and configuration of Ivanti Service Management is best accomplished when we develop an understanding of the customer's environmental and organizational needs. In virtually all instances, the customer will have some existing service management application. We'd like to understand that application to help determine how to proceed in installation and configuration. Some typical questions we might have: what is their existing application? How many analysts are active at any given time? Are they utilizing self-service? And how many people in their organization do utilize that capability? What is their organizational complexity? Locations, how many employees, how many teams do they have? Who are the new members of the teams? Do they have specific security needs or special considerations? If they're using Heat Classic, maybe we can get a copy of their database so that we'll be able to take a look at that on our own and see what capabilities they might use. In all cases, we'd like the customer to demonstrate their existing product in detail so we can take a look at the variance between their existing system and ISM. We'll have a couple of different interactions with the customer, so we'll be able to consider what the customer needs. The first interaction will be an initial product engagement. That'll take place with sales, technical representatives, and project management. During this engagement, we'll be demonstrating ISM to explain benefits of SaaS versus on-premise installations and determine the type of installation that the customer would like to have. We'll also be showing workspaces like incident, self-service, service request, and change so we can help determine what workspaces the customer will be utilizing. We want to establish the cost of the implementation and the configuration so that we can set project goals and a time frame. The result of this engagement will be a statement of work and a project plan. Once the statement of work and the project plan have been finalized, we're going to schedule a workshop that will be conducted by the professional services consultant. The workshop is typically conducted over a 3-day period. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. Depends on how complex the implementation is. During the workshop, we'll be taking a look at a deep dive into ISM where we review various modules. We're going to schedule this so that we have time to take a thorough look. We'll take a look at employee. What do they need to be able to see for each employee? Incident. How does incident work? What are we going to be implementing for the customer that may be different from what they have? Self-service interface. We may take a look at service catalog and how that can benefit the user so that they can take care of things other than just break fix, which is covered by incident. Change. Well, change is the change management process. How do we manage change for things like servers so that they impact the environment of the customer in the least? We'll be taking a look at integrations, LDAP, and email, for example. And we'll take a look at reference data that's needed to be able to configure properly for the customer. And reference data might include teams, team members, how we're going to get employees into the system, whether we use LDAP or some other integration, service category and subcategory that apply to incident. We'll then be looking at the Ops console. The Ops console allows you to establish, test, and validate changes so that they can be implemented in the production environment. And during our wrap-up, we'll be doing question and answers and establishing open items that may need to be reviewed. The results of our workshop will be captured in a design document. The design document will specify any changes that may be needed in the environment or in the configuration so that when we do get to work on installation and configuration, they'll be well defined. Examples of this might be variations in installation that are captured, or a business object such as employee, where we define some things that need to be modified so that it best suits the customer's need. Here you can see I've defined changes for a couple of business rules in the employee object and what we're going to do with them. Once I've got those completed at a later date, I'll be initialing that and dating it so that we can keep a complete record of who's done what and when they've done it. As we mentioned before, ISM is available in two types of deployment, a SaaS deployment and an on-premise deployment. The decision as to which type of deployment is going to be made has usually been done at this level where the statement of work has been developed. The SaaS deployment, which is hosted by Ivanti and maintained by Ivanti, consists of three tenants. The production tenant, where the work is done, the staging tenant, used by development, so you can make updates and configuration changes without affecting the production tenant. Once those changes have been made, we'll push the changes to the UAT tenant, where they can be tested by a user group and validated. Once that validation process has been completed, those changes can be established within the production tenant. The on-premise installation has exactly the same capabilities as the SaaS installation, with a production tenant, a staging and a UA tenant, an associated database server. Of course, the customer will be maintaining their on-premise installation, including any need for upgrades. Here we can see a virtual environment. Virtual environment contains a production tenant, a development, and a SQL Server environment. The production tenant established on the production server, for example, shows we're looking at the home page for the service desk analyst, where we can see assignments, unassigned incidents, incidents they may own, tasks they may have, things that their group might be working on that are going to become important in a short period of time. You can take a look at an incident in the incident workspace and see that we've captured information about the customer, the service and category of the incident, the status of the incident, any journal notes or notes that may have been made. And if we have tasks, they'll show up in this tab. Looking at the development environment, we can see that we have the same look and view. Here's where we're going to be testing changes that we might have. They'll show up here. Notice I've color-coded this red to distinguish that this is staging for production. It's a little handy convenience that we might do. The SQL Server contains the system databases that we'll be using. Configuration database for production or development define the physical configuration of the servers. The application databases, ISM corresponding to production, the staging, and the UAT databases each correspond to the actual data in those user environments. Configuration of ISM is done in the administrative interface. In SaaS, we have the staging tenant for that. On-premise, we're usually going to do that in the production tenant. And once we're done with the production tenant, we get ready to go live. We're going to take that configuration and move it to the staging and UA tenants for further use. The administrative interface is illustrated here. We can see business objects. Here we're looking at the business object of employee. Fields are defined, relationships, the forms that are used, and the lists that are used or grids that show, and layouts the customer might have. We also can have business rules, and we can have workflows. Changes that have been made can be moved between environments using the operations console. We're looking at the operations console here. Once we've completed our production implementation, we'll be pushing that to our staging and to our UAT environment. From that point forward, we'll be looking at making our changes in staging, where they can be moved to the UAT environment for validation and testing. Once that has been completed, we can take the package that we've developed, put it in the production environment, and we're ready to go live with our new changes. We hope you have enjoyed the presentation today, and we look forward to working with you. We will be having additional presentations covering such areas as design, build, testing, deployment, and support tasks. In the meantime, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.